I like to ramble, ramble. I like to ramble, ramble. I like to ramble. Welcome to the innermost ramblings of Fiona. I'm Fiona and I like to ramble. It's actually been the way that I'm learning to get to know myself. I started voice memoing myself and feeling my truth as I speak. Like, does that feel good in my body? That's not quite right. I'll keep talking and then feeling, oh wow, yeah, that is not. So this is where I ramble and process whatever is alive, whatever is staring in me in any given moment, and invite you to listen. Maybe you find some identification. Maybe you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Or maybe you're like, what? That's not my truth. And I hope that you'd seek out your truth as you listen. Listen to your body, listen to your responses, and maybe even do a little rambling of your own. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoy. A disclaimer before we jump into it. These are voice memos that are voice memos. They are infiltrated by wind sounds and cars going past, or me being in the car, or they are not perfect audio. I can't sit down and have the same processing effect. There's often movement involved. I like being outside or standing up, or so my audio is unedited and authentic to the environment that I'm in. Welcome to my dark side. So this is the song that is stuck in my head. So welcome to Inside My Head. I'm coming at you over the airwaves. I just want to invite you as I land here to breathe with me. I'm just realizing how often I constrict, and that constricts my breath, which is my life force, which is my place of aliveness, which is my place of pleasure and actually enjoying being in a human body and in this human experience. So I'm just gonna invite you to breathe in and then out and let something go. I reckon 3 times. Let's do that. And this time just find some muscles in your body that really want to let go of something. Like, as you make that noise out, see how much you can let go of, and how far out, how little air you can leave in your lungs. Welcome. Thank you for landing here with me. I find myself very teary that just these edges that I'm leaning into and being like, this is what I want. And when I show up as me and as asking for what I want, I'm not even, I guess I asked, invited, noticing what I need and naming that, it is not too much and it is not weird, it is desired. Like, that does my head in many ways. And I think that's what I want to talk about today, is just this ever unfolding that I'm like in awe of. I'm watching this self. I mean, I am myself, but I am watching this self unfold and explore what has always been there, but I haven't had access to. And it's like, the deeper I go, the deeper there is. My depths are inexhaustible, and that is beautiful. That is it. That is beyond what I have words for right now, to be honest. Yeah. So, I don't even know where to start. There's like, what I have been thinking about while I've been driving, I feel like I almost need to do like a life check-in, an update on like all the things that are shifting in the physical world, but also just in my internal world. It's like, stuff's moving. But what I've been thinking about, I'm going to start with a workshop. And just the realization that, again, I'm creating a space. I'm wanting to birth spaces that create space for me and for other people to experience this depth that I'm finding. And it's been a slow process. I can't remember if I've talked about this, but my upbringing was of one in the church, and fairly religious, fairly old school, perhaps I would say, in the sense that like I had to wear closed shoes to school, to church, and we sang these and thous and thys, and a lot of song lyrics that I didn't understand. And yeah, I guess having the right answer was a place of safety for me. Knowing truth. There was only one truth. And that did not live inside me or my body. I couldn't trust my body. I couldn't trust her desires, including, but not limited to, hunger, and sexual desire, friendship desire, even what I wanted to do with my life, expression, like any sort of self-indulgence, like listening to what I want, was bad. It couldn't be trusted. It made me sinful, and thus guilty, and needing to heap shame onto my head. And I am unraveling that, and it feels so good to just start, like even starting a podcast with a breath and being like, is that weird? I've had multiple people, friends who are really seeing me, not just the person who knows the right answers, or this curated self that I put together, but like the one who is leaning into all my edges and naming them. They keep telling me, reminding me, weird is your superpower. And I have always been the weird kid.
My food was weird. I smelled weird. I didn't understand a lot of stuff. And I realize now, looking back, like, people wanted to be my friend, but I just didn't know how to trust that as I am okay. Because the programming I got was, I'm a dirty, filthy sinner who always is going to need saving, and nothing I do can ever change that. And I'm starting to feel different in my body. I'm starting to feel my truth. And my truth, my body knows her worth. My body knows her beauty, and her pureness. Like, the truth, when I follow, like, crikey, when I follow my hunger, how much more energy I have, rather than, like, denying and shaming it. When I follow my desire to move my body, like, and I think this is the really big thing that is just really dropping in for me. Like, I went out to town last night for the first time ever. Like, all these edges, I'm just like, okay, tonight is a night of edges. And I had a really dear friend invite me. They feel safe to ask questions of, and I don't feel judged for not knowing and not having experiences and not having done this before. But, like, moving my body in a place where other people can see me, and the messages I got around how if I move in a certain way or draw too much attention to myself, pretty much every guy in the world wants to rape me. And I say that, and I'm like, that is so unfair on guys. Like, to put that on guys and to put that on women, and the pain that's causing me and, well, people in that culture that I grew up in. But just to realize, like, me moving, like, I watched other people dance last night, and it did take me a little bit to drop in and start just dancing for me. But I had multiple conversations with people about like my dancing, like people coming to me and saying, like, I'm really enjoying your dancing. And to feel that in my body and to realize, like, there were times and spaces where I was definitely dancing for other people, but to keep bringing it back and being like, what does it feel like in my body? How does this feel? Dancing has been this way home into my body, into my experience, into me, into my truth. And fuck, I love to dance. I love to move. I'm gonna have to put explicit on that now. Even just dropping into me, like, I really like the word fuck. There you go. You're getting more and more of me. Feels so good. That was an edge. There's so much joy just moving through me right now, like, what? And how simple and little it is just to be like, yeah, I'm gonna say the word fuck in the middle of a podcast, because that's how I speak now. Hi, this is me. Let something go and find that, like, this is what I keep finding. Like, the edges are where my life is. The edges are where I find myself, find my truth, find, like, it's not as scary as I thought it was. And it doesn't make me less than. It makes me more full of myself, not in a way that's conceited, but in a way that draws others in. And that's what I'm realizing. Like, I didn't blah blah blah. There's so many things I want to say. The conversation that I kept having last night was like, how did you get to move like that? And July 2018, I went on a retreat with some people who were deconstructing their Christian faith, and it's exactly what I needed. I went to church before that, and then I haven't been back except for my niece's baptism since, and that was a hard day, to walk back into the places where I feel like the building that I grew up in and felt and feel very constricted. That's a side note, but on this retreat, they were like, we're gonna have a bit of a dance party, we'll just put on not Taylor Swift, no, I can't remember. I'm better when I'm dancing. Megan Trainer, I don't know how to say her last name, sorry. And I remember they went on to the next one, like they put on another song, and I think that was Taylor Swift's Shake It Off, and it was the most uncomfortable thing ever. Maybe not ever, but it was very uncomfortable, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move, and I constricted even more almost. There was a desire, and I felt that desire, and to identify, like, I've been the one that just watched, that hung back, that didn't think I could dance, that didn't know how to move my body freely because it was so uncomfortable. I just wasn't in my body. Like, my energy wasn't in my body. I wasn't allowed to trust the intuitiveness of my body's movement to lead me. And that really is it. Like, when I try to move in a certain way, if you're like, here, move like this, I can't. Giving me choreography it's just constriction. Like, I've been to 2 dance lessons, both of them were for pole, and I would like to do some more, but like the idea of having to constrict myself into, okay, now put your foot here, and now put your foot here, and repeat that over and over again as choreography. I want some more technical skills, but I also really just, dance is so free for me. And I dance for myself. I've spent many hours dancing alone. Like, when I first started dancing, I didn't want anyone to see me. I felt very self-conscious, so if I was somewhere, I would, well, it's funny, I notice I want more and more space to dance, to really drop in. Although last night was pretty personal spacey, as in there wasn't a lot of personal space, and I think that's come from humanity. Like, I can be in the proximity of other people, and we did so much dancing with the people at Humanity, and I just felt safe to know that I could be a little more sensual and sexy in my movements, and it's safe. I am safe in my body to move like this with other people, because again, I have spent so many hours just dancing.
at first it was definitely behind closed doors, and then I started getting more expressive and wanting more space, and I climb trees and dance up the trees now. Like, there's less and less inhibition around it. Like, I guess I'm so comfortable with me, and I'm so comfortable with my movements, and I'm so comfortable to trust my body and just really drop into her movements and her desire and her expression. That someone else possibly seeing me no longer matters. It's almost a joy to be witnessed now, and to realize, like, the way that me connecting to my body, other people feel that and feel connection to me and to themselves. And like last night, connecting with people in a social space like that has just been hard. It hasn't been something that flows easy or that I feel like I know how to do. And there was still some edges that I didn't meet. Like, I was quite happy to dance with engagement to dance with other female bodied people, but to engage the eye contact of males that I like. So I went with a fella last night. Oops, there's a branch there. So I was happy to engage with him because I know that he's quite safe and I know how he's taking it. I just feel safe to play and be playful. But I didn't feel safe to engage and be super playful with male-bodied and to like acknowledge that. And I think that's an edge. That's an edge that I'm willing to keep playing with and lean into, and like, yeah, I'm but to notice like the connection that me being in my body allowed, it's like, and I feel so much more connected. So it's like, I'm not trying to be someone or curate this Fiona that can show up in this space. I just am. And that connection means that the connection point is on, and I'm experiencing myself so I can experience other people, basically. And the connection that they're giving me. And I'm just, again, the feedback was, and I didn't talk to these people very much, some of them. Like, there was a lot of dancing, obviously, but just to go outside and to have people like, we really want you, we want to know you, and to have that invitation, like, it's not something I do, it's not something I speak, it's not something I have to earn or do differently. I'm just showing up as me, and people feel that. Like, that is massive to realize for me. I don't have to do anything. Yeah, it's huge. Another thing we talked a lot about last night, or I made the connection, is just like eye contact creates this space for physical touch, and like so many edges around physical touch and asking for what I
want and need, and exploring this as a desire in me that doesn't have to be squashed or squelted or I'm just noticing how much more affection wants to come out of me without me even trying. Like back in the day before April, before humanity, I didn't understand how physical touch could be this full-bodied experience and not something I had to. It was a concept in my head, in my mind, and it didn't feel good in my body because I was trying to force something that wasn't flowing because there was just all this other gunky stuff happening. And I had a conversation last night about like what was it that shifted that for me. And I was like, I think I was screaming at the masculine. I also had another conversation now that I think of it, and they were like, what was the difference? Like what has shifted for you? And I'm like, screaming. Like just allowing myself to scream. To not swallow the bigness of my emotions anymore and scream. Yeah. But during humanity, we did this, it was quite a way in. So we'd already done a lot of breath work and done a lot of shifting of things and allowing of things to move and like getting really comfortable with feeling, letting energy move, like energy and motion, emotion. And we were invited to stand in, we were lined up in a line of female-bodied people and male-bodied people facing each other. And each of us was given an opportunity to rant and rave, to just speak everything that we've never been able to say to the masculine, be that a specific person or the masculine as a whole. And then the masculine, each individual man spoke or shouted or expressed their truth and their pain and the things that have happened from the feminine. And it was powerful. I spoke my piece, and then I realized there was just more, and it was noise. And I went fairly early on in the piece and then had a second go at it. And this is one of the most profound moments. So I'm glad that I did, because, I mean, I really struggled to sit with it. Because I was like, I got 2 turns and nobody else got 2 turns. But my second turn was my truth. My second turn did not have any words. It was just me howling at each man while they looked at me and held my eyes and saw me and witnessed me and saw, like, one of the guys actually said, like, you were powerful, like you were a wild woman, but just magnetic, and the power, like the truth in that. So I was on the ground and it felt very primal, like very deep, and just howled at them while they witnessed me. And that shifted stuff for me. It released to be witnessed and to make eye contact, like with these men, and to know that they were holding me, willing to hold all of my anger, all of my pain, all of my confusion, and then the men went and expressed their truths, and I guess I realized that everyone carries this pain from not understanding, and not even that, like, we're all human, and not to discount it, but I felt so much more connection and more like don't know, awe and humbled and gratefulness. And then at the end of that, so men hold this space, this container, or the masculine, sorry, and the feminine hold space very differently. And so the men were then invited to sit on the ground away from us, like facing away from us as women, with their eyes closed. And we as women, as the feminine, the embodiment of feminine, were invited to embrace them, to hold them. And because there was no threat, like I didn't have to touch them at all. I didn't have to move towards them. Their eyes were shut, so they didn't know that it was me. Although we were invited to speak words, so as soon as I opened my mouth, they were going to know it was me. But that became irrelevant all of a sudden. Like I just felt so safe. Like I was the one approaching. I was able to hold their pain, but also hold my own self and know that I had a choice, and I haven't always felt like that. And I think that just cracked stuff open for me. Like, yeah, that was a really defining moment for me. I think I'd like to do, it's come up in so many conversations for the past 2 years actually, that people are like, I want to do a workshop with you on screaming. So I think it's coming, I think it's birthing itself, like primal screaming, and just the healing of like really dropping deeply into the body, and being witnessed in that space as well. Which leads me back to this workshop that I am doing next week. And by the time this is released, it's probably already upon us. But the 11th of June, maybe I'll try and get it out before then, who knows. The 11th of June, I'm creating some space to explore embodied expression as an experience. And just, I think being really present last night, like I'm not creating something that isn't my experience. Like I'm not birthing these spaces that don't exist inside of me. Like I can only bring what is already within me. And so just last night was like, I guess this realization of like how me just being me, like I can bring, I draw other people in by moving in my own body with freedom, by doing what it's playful and fun and feels good to me. Other people are drawn in, and like it's not just me doing that, it's everyone, and we build off each other. Like me during dancing created more or noise expression, and like I dance. I can't copy people well, but I would build off other people's intensity, and I love the like dancing with eye contact, which is an edge for me. It's really beautiful to do that, and I think the more I can eye contact people, the more touch during dance will be available, because at the moment I'm like, I don't know how to interact with other bodies so much unless there's like explicit, okay, now we're going to do contact dancing, which I have found very healing as well. And I think there's time and space for all of the things. I know there's time and space for all of the things. So this workshop, I guess I'm feeling much more grounded this morning. Like I have hardly slept. I don't know how to allow the energy to move through me.
yet. And this is not untypical. Like, this is my experience of hanging out with people and having what feels like a big experience as far as experiencing edges with myself. I don't sleep heaps well. Yeah. But maybe that's okay too. There's more I want to say about this affection that's kind of just coming out of me naturally, and like asking for that, or even not even asking, but like allowing it to move my physical body. So like we parked quite a short walk from, but it was quite a walk. It was raining and wet, and I did not wear appropriate shoes for walking in the rain. Wore appropriate shoes for dancing, I think. But where was I going with that? Oh, like just walking next to someone and being like, I want to be closer. Like, can I put my arm around you? And like asking, so the small of my back really was just craving for some touch, and asking that, and how good it felt in my body, like how connected. And then I've just been leaning into holding hands with people, and that felt really nice. But there wasn't this level of connection that I felt when I was met at the small of my back, because that's what she, my body, was asking for. It's like, yeah, it's nice to hold hands, but what I really wanted was the small of my back, and noticing just how different and how much more alive and turned on I felt in my body when that part of my body was touched, purely because she wanted touching. Like, what? But also just landing in that and being like, that's really, like, to follow and live that way. Like, can I imagine, I was talking to an outreach person yesterday, and I've started reading this book called, one of my outreach buddies, and I've started reading this book called Pleasure Activism, and it's like, and listening to some other podcasts. I will link those podcasts below, because I can't remember the names of them, but Jody, and just, yeah, an awakening in me as far as, where was I going with that? Oh, pleasure. And how, like, what happens if pleasure, like, everything could be pleasurable, like, because pleasure is this turn on, and I just feel so in my body and unapologetic for taking up space. Like, it feels so good. Like, I want to come out and I want to play and I want to connect. I'm not afraid anymore. Like, being turned on actually changes me, and noticing like physical touch gives me more confidence in my body. Again, someone this is getting very edgy. I was exploring touch with someone, a friend, and yeah, they were running their hand over my belly, and that's a part of myself that it's edgy to be seen and to be touched, but it felt really good. And I realized, like, after that experience, I've started wearing clothing differently. Like, I'm enjoying wearing clothing that shows my belly button, that shows that part of my body. And before it was like, no, that's uncomfortable. Like, I wanted to, but it feels so different in my body now. Like, it's this eye contact and this
like nothing happens in isolation, and I thought it had to. I thought I was supposed to do it all alone, to get this healing stuff happening within me. But interacting with other people changes how I interact with myself. Like how others interact with me and my body is interrupting old feedback loops of like being repulsive and undesirable and bad and naughty for being an attractive human. So yeah, like last night, just noticing and leaning into these edges of like, this person actually is really enjoying meeting me here, like meeting me as I asked for, can you touch me like this? Can we engage with this, like our bodies like this? So like put your arm around me, it feels really good. And leaning into that and knowing when my boundaries were, where my boundaries were, and being okay with those as well. Like I did a lot of edging last night, and just noticing like how much connection can happen. And this just confirms what I kind of learnt at Sunday Funday last week, and what Tones is saying, like just like connection can happen intimately with anyone, with strangers. It's a different kind of intimacy for sure, but like allowing myself just to be so open to receiving, and that is the key. It's like I don't have to earn it, I just am. To be so open to receive how someone's showing up, and then following my, like, I met people last night and I was just like, I am so, like, you are so beautiful, and I want to kiss your forehead, I want to kiss your cheek, I want to tell you that, like, I want to be affectionate with you. And that is it's very new, but it's also not. Like, I realize how repressed that has been for me. It hasn't been safe to explore or to have any curiosity around. So it's just so nice. Like, I didn't necessarily lean into those edges as much as I would have liked to, but dude, I'm leaning a lot. I think the other thing is acknowledging how attracted I am to other bodies, like to them, and just being like, I said to the friend I went with last night, Adam, I'm this is edgy as well, like naming people in my podcast. Like, how much are you gonna know about me at the end of this? I don't know who's gonna listen to this. Anyway, now I've lost my train of thought. No, I really have lost my train of thought. How's I going with that? Yeah, I think I lost it. Naming, like attraction to other bodies. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe I need to go back and listen. I've named this before, I think, in this podcast, where it's like, when I start not being able to follow a train of thought, that's my brain's way of protecting me. I think, in the sense that it, like, I just get a bit disengaged. So, yeah. Naming, I went back and listened, naming attraction to other people, and I, like, wow, you are, like, I find you really attractive, and naming that to the person that I find attractive, big edge. I don't know, and I think some of it's like, I don't know the people, I just find them somehow attractive, be that physically or energetically. I'm drawn to them, but I don't know them as like a personality, so how can I name that to them? But interesting to just play with that, and to realize, like, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, I don't really know how to take that, or perhaps what that means, or I would be like, you're objectifying me, which is not, I don't want to lean into that. I want to find the beauty in people and their bodies as with respect. And yeah, I think the other thing is I'm just realizing, like, this desire to kiss people, I'm not really sure how to do that yet. Like, to kiss a forehead when I say goodbye, I'm just like, I'm leaning in and I'm gonna get a hug, but how do I, like, make space for that? So, like, the practical how to, still a little, like, I don't really know how, and that's okay, like, just being with that, and when I have, it's been a really quick thing, so I'd like it to, I mean, because it is an edge, I'm just like, oh, quick, do the thing, don't linger too long, because there are sensations that feel new, but I feel like I'd like to learn, not necessarily learn, just allow myself to slow down and be with all the things. So be with the delight and the offering and the exchange and the way that my chest feels so expanded, the way that my body experiences me giving a kiss, and also all the other discomfort things of, like, and allowing that space. Yeah, and I have been rambling for quite a while now, so I did just want to say, I mentioned early on about anonymity, and not naming people, so I have named people, and I will check with them about being in my podcast before I release it. But there's also this wanting to, like, lean into edges around that sort of stuff. So we will see where that keeps unfolding to. Yeah, the other thing is that I started this song, this podcast, this song that's stuck in my head that I have been listening to on repeat, so that's probably why it's stuck in my head, but, like, welcome to my dark side, ooh, ooh. It's welcome to my dark side. Like, I feel like this is that, like, how, sorry if that was out of tune, but ooh, welcome to my dark side, ooh, ooh. It's like, this is all the stuff that I thought was dark, and it's not. I feel so alive and so me, like me in ways I didn't know I needed, but I need. And I feel like there will be many iterations of unpacking these things as I just find more depth. Like I said at the start, like there's just more depth. So, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Fiona. Like, just, I'm showing up. Yeah. Let's breathe together on the outro, because that feels good. So just breathing in, coming into this moment and noticing like what's come up for you and what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and just letting all of that be here. It's all welcome. You are all welcome. Just breathing, taking a really nice deep breath into those places within you that need some life, need some attention, or just need some breath. Your lungs, for example. And letting something go. And again, just in. And one more time. I think that feels complete for now. Thank you. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss, tschüss. Till next time. Bye. And there you have it, folks. Another episode of The Innermost Ramblings of Fiona in the Books. Thanks for coming along. Please like and subscribe and share and do all those things. And if you want to find me on socials in between time, you can find me at _innermost_ramblings on Instagram, or check the show notes for other ways to connect. Until next time, have a brilliant, beautiful day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, whenever you are listening to this. From my heart to yours. Bye. I just want to speak to the fact that I name someone by name in this episode, and it doesn't land heaps well that I have, and it is an edge I want to dance with, but I think I found the edge of it. So I don't actually know how to edit it out, so it's going to stay there, but I'm acknowledging that this is an ever-evolving experiment with myself and with what lands well and feels good in my body. So I think I'll take a step back into preserving anonymity and names and stuff of other people, even with explicit consent, because that just feels right for right now.